So I'm back with Mal Cope. It's a bit miserable outside, so we're in the studio today and we're going to have another delve into the mind games. But before that, do this. That's that out of the way. Welcome back, Mal. Great to see you again.
Good to be back.
Yeah, it's been a while actually.
It has, yes.
So today, I mean, golf's been a good 2.5, nearly 3 months since most people have played. During the last lockdown, golfers were out in the garden, swinging a club, hitting balls. I'm sure you managed to. I think you set up a net, didn't you?
Yeah, a little bit in the back garage. Yeah.
And it seemed like there was a lot more activity during this lockdown because obviously the weather, start of January all the way through till now, it has been miserable. Yeah. Nobody's been out in the garden.
No.
Nobody's been sending me videos of their swing to have a look at.
Growing rice in my garden.
Brilliant. So, it's one of those situations where I think there's going to be a lot of issues when people start playing again. And by all means, we can look at the technical side of the game and certain areas there. That's something I've done for years. But what I'd rather look at today is how we can maybe help certain areas with obviously the mental side of the game. And one thing Mal and I have discussed quite in depth is strike, okay? The contact with the golf ball, and certainly for most, me included, connecting with the ball well when we get back to the game is going to be quite difficult because we haven't hit any golf balls, we haven't swung a club. And again, there's certain things I can talk to Malcolm about, for example, technical aspects. I don't want to go confusing people just yet, but there's an area Mal sort of said, well, we can talk a bit about that, obviously on his area of specialty, which is through how the mind can interpret it. So for me, a shot that's probably one of the most destructive shots, and the ball doesn't go anywhere, is a heavy shot, a fat shot. Yeah. If you thin it might bullet, it might run long, it'll still go. A slice, you've connected with it. A hook, you've connected with it. But when you stand on that tee and hit the ground before the ball with a driver, or even you've got a nice little 150-yard iron into the green and you chunk it and hit the ground before the ball, that ball literally goes...
It's a killer, isn't it?
It goes nowhere. And you kind of look at yourself and go, what have I done now? How's that happened? Without going into the physical and technical sides there, Mal's got some really useful information on how maybe we can sort of help prevent that. Certainly in the next few weeks, a bit of practice, which won't involve hitting any balls, which is great, before we get back on the course. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, it's absolutely. I mean, to go into it technically, you need a bit of time with the golfers, don't you? And you need to spend a bit of time.
Totally.
And they need, really, you stood there for the next period of time. What I'm keen that people do a bit of is actually give the brain time and space to work out what it is that it wants to do. So in your practice sessions have always got to have a purpose.
Yep.
That's one of the key things. But there's different ways of getting to that outcome. And one of the things that we tend to do as amateurs is whenever we go out for a practice session, we've sort of already decided what our solution is when we're going on there.
Yeah.
Because we'll have talked to somebody, our playing partners have been telling us for years what we're doing wrong. The internet would have told us. Yeah. And we tend to look very internally for any kind of solution when we go out there.
Yeah, like your swing fixes and what you've maybe read about with your elbow position, your arm position, your body.
Yeah. So we look into it. So internal versus external. Your internal solutions will all be, as you've just said, there'll be your elbow positions, your weight shift, things like that, where you are at the top. External is very much more a view of outside of the body. When we look external close to you would be the club face, and external getting further away from you might be shot shape, might be how the ball reacts on the green. That's the sort of thing that we're talking about. And there is a bit of a correlation between the better the golfer, the further away we should probably put the external cue.
Okay.
So if you're a more proficient golfer, you might be looking at how the ball's going to react on the green itself when it lands 150 yards away.
Right.
If you're closer to the beginning stage, you might want to be talking about the club face.
Yeah.
Things very close to you, maybe even the divot that we're going to talk about.
Okay.
Much closer, and there is a correlation with which way you can go. It doesn't work every time, but it's definitely one that you can think about.
I've read a lot about Jack Nicholson and Palmer, and you just made me think about this. They would picture ball, we'd put them in the better player bracket.
Yeah, I think so.
They would picture a ball landing on the green.
Yeah, yeah.
They'd see the ball react on the green.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a prime example of what you've just discussed. What they then do is see how it got there, and then they put themselves in the position to make it get there. That's without thinking of any swing thoughts, any technical. They just watch the ball land on the certain part of the green, visualising it, and then rewound it back.
Yeah, absolutely. So what they're doing is the outcome, which is what you want to focus on all the time. The outcome is the movement of the ball from right to left or left to right on the green or whatever. And what they're doing is they're allowing the brain to work out all the variables that are needed to make that happen. Whereas when we go internally and you start talking about your elbow, you've got 15 different variables that will cause where your swing's going to bottom out, and we've told ourselves that it's that one. It might be, it might not be.
For that shot, and then a different one for that shot.
Absolutely. So that's where, if you start to look internally and look at one thing, you start to get in the way of your fluidity of movement. Because it's like playing with a handbrake on. Whereas when you can look externally at things, then you engage the brain a lot more. So it's getting into looking at those external things that we thought maybe we'd do a little practical on for people that are going to go out.
Yeah, great. So I mean, you've popped some T-pegs down the floor for me. I'm intrigued to see what you're going to do here.
Okay.
I'm guessing you want me to grab a club?
Yep, absolutely. Any stick. Any stick. What we're interested in is the fat shot. And what we're into, what's causing it is...
You've been watching me play, haven't you?
Is where are we going to bottom out the swing?
Okay.
So, bottoming out the swing, as we talked before about, if you look internally, you might start talking about your elbow and all the rest of it. Try and control the bottom arc of your swing by moving your elbow. You'll be here all day.
Definitely.
External cue for bottoming out the swing would be, so where do I want it to bottom out?
Okay. So ideally, I'm looking at these 3 T-pegs. The middle one's the ball.
Yeah, middle one is where the ball's probably going to end up. But for this exercise, what we want to do is engage the brain to hit the different parts of the mat. Now, easy outside on the grass, because you'll see it. You set that up. So, to start with, we're looking to graze the turf there. We want the swing to bottom out there.
Right.
Then we'll go to the back one. We want the swing to bottom out there. Move it backwards and forwards and engage the brain to do it. And you'll find very quickly you can do it, and you haven't had one thought about where your elbow is or whether you're over the top or not, because you've got a real strong external cue.
So it's kind of
what you use.
I'm focusing on that rather than this.
Nothing else. You haven't even thought about where you are up here, because that's your sole task.
So let's give it a little go. So I'm just going to try and get I missed the ground. That was definitely back there. So
absolutely.
Shall I try and get back this side? Definitely, So I'm moving the bottom of my arc around.
I mean,
that was in the middle.
You'd be able to see all this on the technology, wouldn't you? But people outside can see that straight away on the turf. And just move things backwards and forwards and engage the brain with the stimulus to find out which way you want to do it. And it's totally different external cue that you've got. You can do it with the club face. So we've just talked about bottoming out there. You can do it with the club face. So you can start with the club face there. Just play around, engage,
and then just look at what's happening with the blade each time.
Exactly. So you get these things, and they take you out of the looking at internal, because all of a sudden you've only got one thing to do. And what we're doing is, it's difficult for golfers, because golfers like to feel that they're in control of whatever we've gone out there to do. So we've gone out there and we think we're the ones in control of it. What I want you to do is let go of the control method of getting to the outcome. You're not letting go of the outcome. The outcome's still exactly the same. The outcome is the great golf shot.
That ball landing on the green.
Absolutely. The outcome's not having your elbow in a good position. The outcome is the golf shot. What I want you to do as a golfer is just be prepared to let go of the solution that gets you there. Give your brain the time and space to work out all the variables, and it'll do it.
I got to say, it's just how I feel at the minute. Again, naturally, I've always got a swing thought in my mind. I'm always thinking about, because I've coached for so long, I'm always breaking swings down and thinking. Here, it feels quite free and relaxing. The fact that I don't have to think of anything. I just see where the club is going to make contact with the ground. And in the process of doing it, I can feel my weight moving naturally. I can feel that flow, nothing's getting in the way.
That's it, it's the fluidity of movement. I mean, there's a lot of clinicians now looking at this.
It's easy, clinicians, it's easy for you to say.
Not that easy, is it? No. A lot of clinicians looking at it in terms of speeding up recovery. So whereas before you might have had an injury and they're looking at the movements of the body part, take that away. What are we actually trying to achieve? What's the outcome? And let it do it. And the body will achieve that quicker. There's loads of research on it now that the external is 8-10 times more effective than looking internally for a solution. Again,
it was something you resonate every time we chat. You kind of uncover these little things I think about, and you resonate. So, well, I think about going down the stairs, right? And a simple challenge is to get down the stairs, isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't think about how you step down each step, because if you did, you'd fall, I'm sure.
Try it tonight. Try it.
You're going to break my ankle.
I don't want you to fall, but just try tonight when you're going down.
Yeah.
Think about your right knee position and get Becca at the bottom of the stairs to laugh at your funny walk. Because it takes away
breaking it down,
all the natural fluid movement because there's so many things that make up that movement. If it's only one movement that you're trying to do, you can do it. But when it's made up, when the act, the swing, the whatever it is, the movement is made up of multiple things, then your brain's got to think of the outcome, not one of those.
Can we just put a little disclaimer in here? If you go down the stairs after watching this and think about how to get down and fall and break your ankle, we didn't advise you to do that. Keep going down the stairs the same way. Let's get back to the golf swing. So, 3 T-pegs on the floor. In the garden, before we get back to the golf course. This is something someone can do. Don't go digging up your gardens. If you've got a bit of mat, great. It would be good if there's a bit of turf you can use to see the interaction with the ground you make.
Absolutely.
No technical thoughts at all, just focus on where you're making contact with the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, chipping's another one. Chipping's a really good one. So you'll find
I do fat a lot of chips. Again, we played together in Turkey, you saw that.
Absolutely. You'll find that a lot of people, when they go and practice their chipping, they'll put 30 balls down and they'll go out there with an internal thought, just one, and it might be weight forward.
I've told them to do it.
Weight on the left foot, exactly. So they'll hit 30 chips like that with the weight forward, and they'll go away very happy because they're chipping well. They'll walk out onto the golf course, and the first thing that happens is the external world hits you. You're hit by bunkers, you're hit by slopes, you're hit by wind, and you duff your first chip, and you think, well, how have I just hit 30 chips? Because one's internal, and then immediately go and play golf. It's all external. That's why a lot of people struggle to take practice to the course.
So what you're saying is practice with some external thoughts rather than just internal.
Yeah, absolutely. And you'll find, just pick different things. Anything that's external, so club face, landing, whatever. Find what works for you. Just don't immediately walk out there and impose the solution on your brain before you get there, because it's a bit like going out and saying, right, I'm going to practice a high draw today. You've stimulated your brain, it's very excited, and then you get there and then you tell it how it's going to do it. You're going to do it by putting your elbow in there, and your brain goes, oh, all right.
Think high draw.
I've switched off then. I'm not interested anymore, because you've told me what the solution, you just imposed it on all the excited part of your brain that was going to get involved in the solution. I'm going to just put a little scenario together here for chipping, okay? So I've interpreted what you're saying. So you're on the chipping green, you've got a handful of balls, your flag is 20 yards away. Before you play the shot, see the ball going to the pin, see how it gets there. Don't think of how to do it, just let your body do the action. Because you can do it because you've done it before. But if you stand there and go, right, ball back, hands forward, weight on the left side, hinge here, hold that hinge, drop in, all those, which I've done, and that ball shanks off to the right. That's not what I pictured. I pictured a lovely shot. All so internal, and actually what you've ended up doing there is giving 5 or 6 internal things.
And the rest, there's more going on in here.
It's almost like there's no chance of controlling those movements when you do that.
Okay, Mal, again, another insightful look into slightly different ways of practicing and ways we can help you guys when you get back on the golf course, or certainly before you do. So thank you again for your time today. Next session, we are going to be looking at some question and answers. So what we'd really like you to do, comment below on this video, send us a few questions about areas of the game that you're anxious about, concerned about, not technical, but the mental side, for when we reopen, and then that's what we'll aim to do next week. The episode will be about that, and we can hopefully come back to a few of you. So Wishy, I'm sure you've got a few questions for us. We'd like to see that. By all means, feel free, comment below, and give us a little thumbs up as well if you've liked today's video and if you think it's going to help you.
Cool.
Thanks, Mal.
You're welcome.
You stay safe.
Cheers.
Take care.